Good morning, everybody, and happy Monday morning. I hope everybody had a wonderful weekend. There's lots to cover today. Let's jump in and get there, shall we? Let's go. To start off with, Chris Jackson took some amazing behind-the-scenes photos of Prince William while he was in Singapore at the Earthshot Prize. He got them, backstage after he was out on the stage. Beautiful, beautiful black and white photos, including some of the rehearsals. Love them. These are the kind of intimate behind-the-scenes photos that I love, not the staged ones of somebody standing there holding her husband and they're looking forward. You know what I mean? These are just intimate, taken photos. William may not have been even aware of the camera. They're obviously not staged. That's what I love about them, and he's so genuine. All right, moving on. Next up, we're going to talk about Princess Anne because on November 8th, she is the royal patron of Catch-22, and she attended the National Leaving Care Benchmark Forum in Birmingham. She was looking quite lovely. I do like that color on her. I can't tell if that's blue or purple. Sticking with Princess Anne, she opened the Museum of Scottish Fire Heritage because they're marking the 200th anniversary of the world's first municipal fire service in Edinburgh. And while she was there, she also went to the MacDonald Road Community Fire and Ambulance Station. She met museum volunteers and she met firefighters who work there. I have to say, I love the touch of the gloves with the outfit. All right, now again, with Princess Anne, she and her husband, Sir Tim Lawrence, went to the National Memorial Arboretum. She was there to attend the service of remembrance at the Armed Forces Memorial there. And it's for the anniversary of the signing of Armistice, which commemorates all those who gave their lives in service. Now, this has taken place as Princess Anne has now become the president of the Commonwealth War Graves Commission. The Duke of Kent is retiring. He was over 50 years in the position. He is now 88 years old. He's having some mobility issues, and so she's taking over. Very nice. All right, now we're going to move on to Duchess Sophie, who looked gorgeous. She was at the Lancaster House attending a reception, which is for the Foreign, Commonwealth, and Development Office. Now, the Minister of State, Lord Ahmed, who is the Minister of State for the Foreign, Commonwealth, and Development group, through this, and also the High Commissioner of India to the United Kingdom was there, and he was seen lighting candles and offering greetings to everybody that was there. Sophie looked gorgeous. I loved the dress, and I had the feeling I'd seen it before, and sure enough, it came out. Thank you to Remoulade Sauce. We have seen this dress on her before. She looked lovely. Moving on. All right. Let's move on now to the Duke and Duchess of Gloucester. They were very busy. They were in Sheffield. I believe this was the 10th. They went to the Sheffield Knives, the Snowdrop Project, the Sheffield Institute for Translational Neuroscience at the University of Sheffield, Sheffield Cathedral, and the Cathedral Archer Project. These pictures were taken as they were leaving the cathedral. Looking good. Let's move on now to King Charles. Several days ago, he attended the blessing of a cedar of Lebanon tree that is planted in the gardens of Windsor Castle. The tree, according to the description, is supposed to symbolize the flourishing of fortitude, justice, and prosperity, per the Bible. It was a gift from the Pope to mark Queen Elizabeth's Platinum Jubilee. All right, also sticking with King Charles, his official portrait, for his 75th birthday came out. I love that. All right, moving on. All right, it's that time of year again when the whole family gets together at the Royal Albert Hall for the annual Royal British Legion Festival of Remembrance. Fabulous. Everybody was there. Charles and Camilla, Catherine and William, Sophie and Edward, the Duke and Duchess of Gloucester, Anne and her husband, Sir Tim. Everybody looked wonderful. I couldn't help but notice that Catherine was wearing Queen Elizabeth's pearls. Very nice. She looked lovely, and I love the poppy. I love the dress. I knew I'd seen it before, and a big thank you to Remoulade Sauce for once again showing us what she was wearing. She also had a pin on. She was wearing the Queen's Dragoon Guard brooch, which was made in 1959. Now, this may not be in the exact right order, okay? But next you had Edward showing up. He looked very dapper. And coming in right behind him was Sophie. This dress with the design on the sleeves, I really, really liked it. I don't think I've ever seen it before either. You know, I've said it before, I'll say it again. She's very understated. That's why I like her so much. You know what I'm saying? A big thank you to Remoulade Sauce also for all the information on what she was wearing. And as I said, it may not be in the correct order, but Sir Tim Lawrence came in, and that's Anne's husband. Then Anne arrived. She also looked very nice. I like this, I guess it's a scarf she had around her neck, very stylish. And after them came the Duke and Duchess of Gloucester. Very nice. Both of them looking very nice. Love all of the medals. Now, for those of you who don't know, the service of remembrance, this service is an opportunity for everybody to say thank you to the members of the armed forces and for those who laid down their lives. You had the band of the Royal Marines there. You had the band of the Royal Air Force there. They commemorated significant anniversaries this year. It's been 80 years since the Battle of the Atlantic, which, according to the article, is the longest military campaign of World War II. It is also the 70th year since the Korean War. So those are two main events, you know, the anniversaries of that they're spotlighting on. It was done as a live TV event. The Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak, was there also with his wife. And it was Princess Anne that gave some really nice comments about the 80th anniversary of the Battle of the Atlantic. You should know that earlier on, before all of this started, King Charles and Queen Camilla went and unveiled statues of Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip. These sculptures were commissioned by the Royal Albert Hall specifically to mark the 150th anniversary celebration. They were created by artist Poppy Field. They fill the northern porch, which, according to the article, has had nothing there since 1871. Very nice, beautiful statues, and you could see that Charles was very moved. Beautiful, beautiful. All right, let's move on. All right, next thing you knew, it was the next day, and it was time for the Remembrance Day service at the cenotaph. Of course, King Charles was there, as was Anne, William, Edward, everybody was there. There was a 2-minute silence that took place across the UK, and King Charles laid the first wreath in front of the memorial. Now, there was a huge police presence, obviously, due to what's going on there. Apparently, there was more than 120 arrests that happened, but okay, whatever. The king, it was a nice, peaceful. I was worried about what was going to happen, but apparently it went very well. The king was visibly moved. You can just tell. You can see the emotion. Now, after the king, of course, then it was William's turn, the Prince of Wales. Now, remember, these wreaths that they're laying at the base of the cenotaph are not personal. They lay them on behalf of organizations of the army, of the military. They may be, you know, the honorary colonel in chief, etc., and they're laying these wreaths, but the wreaths are not personal. You just have to remember that. Of course, Edward, the Duke, stepped up. He also laid a wreath. After him came Anne, but there were lots of other people that were participating. You had the Home Secretary, Suella Braverman, who, by the way, people are calling for her to be removed. You had Sadiq Khan. You had a lot of people were there. Now, Camilla and Catherine were on the balcony together. It's obvious that they share a really good friendship and they get along really well, which I think is a wonderful thing. Again, with Catherine, I've seen this outfit before. I can't place it. I'm pretty sure she wore it a few years ago. But once again, my point was you could just see the emotion on her face. Now, on another balcony, you had Duchess Sophie with Anne's husband, Sir Lawrence. I have to tell you, I think Sophie has really upped her style lately. Also, the Duke and Duchess of Gloucester were spotted. Now, the Duke of Kent was not there. He also was not at the service the night before. He's having mobility issues. As I told you, he's already had to step down. He was 21 years in the actual military, and he's the first cousin of the Queen, but he's having to step back now. Good for him. Good for you, sir. Now, of course, the news drudged up what happened. This is from November of 2023, but they drudged up what happened how many years ago now? Remember, Harry asked the Queen for somebody to lay a wreath for him on his behalf at the cenotaph in 2020. And he was told, no, he's no longer a working royal. He no longer holds any of the military titles. These are not personal wreaths. These are wreaths laid on behalf of other people. So what happened? What happened was Harry and Meghan days earlier, because we checked the weather reports and it was raining that day, days earlier, they took a fashion photographer, went to an American cemetery, trampled all over American graves. The fashion photographer would go, okay, go. And they would start walking down through the graves with, I'm sure, Meghan's high heels sinking into the ground to have these pictures taken. And so when the family didn't give Harry and Meghan what they wanted, they released the photos. It was pathetic. It was desperate, and it put them in a bad light. And the pictures were horribly photoshopped. If you look, Meghan is missing a leg. Okay, moving on. All right, let's turn our attention to that lawsuit again with Meghan and Samantha Markle. The decision has not been made. Some people seem to think it has. It has not. It could take up to 30 days for the judge to make a decision. But if the judge goes in Samantha's side, then Meghan's going to have to hand over all of her text messages, her WhatsApp messages, her emails. It could get ugly. Also, people are like, why is she only seeking damages of $75,000? No, that's just a number for damages. Punitive damages would be something else. I'll keep an eye on it for you guys. All right, moving on. All right, here we go. Prince Harry. We know that the High Court in London said that his case against the Associated Newspapers could go to trial, but there's a little catch. The documents that came from the Leveson inquiry cannot be used as evidence in the case. And for those of you who don't know what that is, the Leveson inquiry was a judicial public inquiry into the ethics of the British press. And you all should know that Harry's attorney, David Sherborne, was accused of leaking documents from that inquiry. Why doesn't that surprise me? So you've got Baroness Doreen Lawrence, Sir Elton John, there's like 7 of them, and they're all alleging, hacking. However, the Leveson inquiry, the breach of the order was made, and they said that this is just ridiculous and they're not going to allow it. The judge said that if they allow that to go forward in its current form, it would, quote, bring the administration of justice into disrepute. Yep, I believe it. Basically, the information from the inquiry was given under strict confidentiality, and therefore it can't be used, and it's being struck from the case, and that's really going to hurt their case. It's supposed to go to trial. We'll see what happens. Moving on. All right, PR puff pieces. A family just bumped into Meghan, and she was talked about her princess daughter, and she was so kind. First of all, with the security around Meghan, nobody would be able to just bump into her and talk. And Meghan is so secretive about her children, I sincerely doubt that she would run at the mouth about her daughter. Second of all, the article says what she was wearing, how much it cost, the name brand. So you're telling me that this woman that just happened to bump into her knew what she was wearing and how much it cost? Don't think so. All right, I have to go back to articles like this. Harry and Meghan did their homework before visiting the facility for Navy SEALs. First of all, they're not actually affiliated with the Navy SEALs. It's a 501c company. They got there because WME paid a donation, and that's how these two were getting in there. Harry wasn't even wearing a tie. He had this open neck thing, which I think was completely disrespectful. But here's some of the stuff I want to point out to you. First of all, notice what Meghan is wearing. Notice that her hair is pulled back in a ponytail. They were seen, sitting around this round table. And at one point during the night, Harry actually was allowed to make some sort of a statement, but it was inside with just the guests. It was nobody outside. But earlier in the day, they were there at the same place. Okay, they were at Camp Pendleton, or they were at Camp Pendleton in San Diego. So people were upset because of what Meghan was wearing. Because the poppy is for the UK. She doesn't like the UK. She's done everything to slam the UK, their people, the royals, their traditions, but yet she's walking around with a poppy on her chest. So what people noticed was that she went to hang out, but she did an outfit change here. Her hair isn't pulled back. She might be wearing the same black pants, but she's wearing a sweater, which, by the way, just the sweater was almost $1,500. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, she brought an outfit change to the day. That's why people are upset. All right. This is an older article, but I also have one, as you're about to see, from September of this year, because Harry and Markle are once again demanding that William and Charles apologize to Meghan. And they're saying this first article was back when I think the king was turning 70 or 72. Well, now the king's birthday is coming up again. And once again, they're not going to go unless they get an apology. I mean, I, for one, wonder what he wants them to apologize for the 34 million pound wedding, the over $1 million in wardrobe, the jewelry, all of her trips, her tours around the world. What is she apologizing for? Because the royal family wouldn't let her be the star of the family? Sorry. The truth of the matter is, unless these two make some massive changes, stop their whining, stop their crying, and move on, they're going into obscurity. People are taking the piss out of them in cartoons. Nobody is interested in them anymore. WME is having to pay to get them into events. People don't want to deal with them. It's encouraging more people to dislike them. When you're a public figure, you have privileges, you're on a pedestal, but you're on a pedestal for praise and criticism. A perfect example of what I'm talking about is this article. Harry and Meghan have apparently been complaining about the way they feel they were mistreated at the Queen's state funeral last year. Could you imagine? They treated the family like dirt, and they complained that the family should have been more welcoming. Right. Let's not forget that Harry had been invited to see his grandmother. He knew she was sick. He said, no, thank you. And then she died. I mean, what is he expecting? Please keep in mind that while they were crying foul, they had already filmed the Netflix docuseries. Thank God the Queen didn't live long enough to see that. And The Spare had already been written. So with all of that, they're saying that the two of them are a toxic combination and they're unpredictable and unpopular. No, I think they're very predictable, because the second the royal family gets any press, the two of them do something to try to countermand it. They do it every time. They're very predictable. But you are right. They're very unpopular. People have had enough of them, and that's why there's no contact between the family anymore. All right, you guys, you know what I want. Put those comments down, make them good. Don't forget to hit the button. Make sure you're still subscribed, especially if you've already subscribed. If you've donated to my coffee fund, thank you so much. And as always, have a great day.